All right. I think I'd like to start by saying good evening, everybody, on this beautiful day in the city of Birmingham. I'd like to open the Birmingham City Commission meeting of August 10 to order. Please stand and joining me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Boutros,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Long.
She's muted.
Oh, here. Mr. Baylor,
Here.
Commissioner Hoff, Commissioner Host,
Here.
Commissioner Nikita,
Here.
Commissioner Sherman.
Here. Thank you, Alex. That we'll go to proclamations, congratulatory resolutions, awards, appointments, resignations, and confirmations, administration of oath, introduction of guests, and announcements. I see no guests with us. Would go forward with our announcement for this evening. Unfortunately, the first one, as we've been saying, that our city offices remain closed to the public. Although all departments are accessible via phone and email, and payments may be dropped off using our convenient drop box that is located behind City Hall and accessible via the police department parking lot of Henrietta Street. Also, our Baldwin Library is open to the public. The building capacity, although is limited, and people are asked to limit their stay to 45 minutes. Public computer use is restricted to 30 minutes, although also mask and social distancing are required. The library is open on its regular schedule 7 days a week and is also offering curbside pickup service to patrons during limited hours, which are listed on the library's website. MELCAT, Michigan statewide interlibrary loan program, is resuming service on Monday, August 10th. The Baldwin Library will begin accepting requests on that day. And I would like to repeat, as every meeting, I stated how important for our residents of our community to stay engaged and to be informed. And I keep emphasizing and encourage each one to sign up for our email distribution system and able to receive the latest information from our city. It's the best way to stay engaged. You can do this by going on our website and clicking on the box in the lower right corner of our screen to sign up. Our city commission would like to send a big thank you to Mr. Bill Wibrecht for his years of service as a long-standing member of the Parks and Rec Board. Bill was appointed to the Parks Board in October of 1991, and he's finally resigning. His term is this June of 2020. Wow, with 29 years of dedicated service to the city of Birmingham, I believe he deserves a big thank you on behalf of myself, my fellow commissioners, and all the city and all the residents. We thank you, Mr. Wibrecht. I don't know if you're there, you're listening, but we thank you. Also, a special thanks to Mr. Michael Horowitz for his service to the city on the Advisory Parking Committee. Thank you, Mr. Horowitz. And a final big thank you to the clerk's office and Our city commission would like to thank you for all you've done on all of the election inspectors and the city staff that helped with conducting a successful election. I mean it. I witnessed it. I went there myself on August 4th for the state primary. Good job, and we thank you. We also appreciate all of the voters who participated safely. Our turnout for this election was about 39%, which was above the average, actually, for Oakland County, above the average. That's pretty impressive during this unprecedented, unique time that we're going through, and unique election. Thank you. We proceed with our appointments. I think unless we have some technical difficulties, I understand, or we're good? We're good? Everybody can hear me? We're all good? Commissioners, nod your head so I can see. I think they're all saying yes. Yes. Okay. So we continue. Our first appointment under our business is our advisory parking committee. And we have our applicant, Mr. Stephen Kolzinski. He's been on that committee only since 2012. We thank you, Mr. Kolzinski, for your continued interest in making a difference. And please help us understand and give us some background on why you wish to proceed, continue doing what you're doing and sit on that advisory parking committee. And that's as a regular member also.
First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you today via Zoom. I have actually been in the city for 8 years, and I was gifted to be given this opportunity by Peter Wild, who held the position covering the largest retailer on the Parking Advisory Committee in 2012. There's no question that over the past 8 years, it has certainly become a much more important board as we continue on and into 2020 and beyond. And I've enjoyed my participation in it, and I'd like to continue on.
Thank you, Mr. Kolzinski. We appreciate you. Any questions from the commissioners to Mr. Kolzinski? I see none. Any nomination? Commissioner Nikita.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Stephen Kolzinski.
Okay. Other nominations from the commissioners? Awesome. We have one applicant and one appointment. I guess with that, can we please call the roll?
Yeah. Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Baylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoff?
She's saying yes, nodding and raising her hand as she's having technical difficulty with her computer. Alex, is that acceptable? Give us a thumbs up, Commissioner Hoff. Here we go.
Okay. Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Boutros?
Yes. Again, Mr. Kolzinski, we thank you so much for making a difference in our community and staying involved. Also for the public, just to let you know that on that advisory parking committee, we still have a vacancy for a restaurant owner. If there's any interest out there from restaurant owners. And also we have a vacancy as an alternate member as a downtown employee.
The appointments, the swearing in of the applicants
and-
will take place at a later date.
And Mr. Kolzinski, the swear in, please, that will take in at a later date.
Okay.
Our city clerk, Ms. Bingham, will follow up with you and coordinate that with you.
That'd be fine. Thank you so much.
You don't have to wait tonight unless you'd like to enjoy our meeting as usual. You can stay on.
I always enjoy it. I'll be staying.
Thank you. All right. With that, we go to our next appointment is our Greenwood Cemetery Advisory Board. And we have appointment for a regular member to serve as 3-year term, expire July 6, 2023. And we have Mr. Joseph Versaloni. Mr. Versaloni, please tell us about yourself and why you're interested in that board, please. Or I should say, Dr. Versaloni.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yes.
No need to say that.
Yes.
Yes, I'm very interested in being a part of the Greenwood Cemetery Board. I've been a citizen of Birmingham now for over 20 years. Raised my 3 children here, all of them going through the public school system. My second just graduated from Seaholm, and I have another one in 10th grade. I love Birmingham, and I especially love the rich cultural heritage of the city. And I think that's very much encapsulated in Greenwood Cemetery. And I'm very much looking forward to helping increase the awareness of the cemetery and the history that it can promote to the general population. Back in maybe my healthier days, I would go for runs, and I would often run through Greenwood. And as I was studying to be a doctor, I would stop at Dr. Raynell's funeral spot and ask him for his guidance and assistance. And I think he came through for me, so I owe him that debt. So I'm looking forward to helping grow the awareness of the site. I have an interest in history and especially genealogy and ancestral research. I think I called out on my application. I've done research on familysearch.org and ancestry, researching my heritage back almost 500 years now. So I'm hoping to use some of that knowledge to help do some of the investigative analysis of the people in the cemetery.
Thank you, Doctor. Any questions from the commission for the applicant? See none? Any
As long as it doesn't involve medicine, I'm okay to answer anything.
We appreciate your interest, Doctor. Any nominations from Commissioner? Commissioner Host?
I'd like to nominate Dr. Saloni.
Thank you, Commissioner Host. We have a nomination. Any other nominations? I guess we only have one applicant. Great. With that, I see Commissioner Hoff having technical difficulty. Alex, I think I don't see her on the screen. I'm not sure if she can hear us, but we have majority, and I think we're comfortable moving forward with the nomination. If you don't mind, go ahead, City Clerk, please, with the roll call.
Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Boutros?
Yes.
And then Commissioner Hoff, should I mark her as absent due to technical difficulty?
I believe so. Alex says I don't see her, I don't hear her, so we can count
Okay.
this. But I believe Dr. Versaloni, you would have had unanimous support from all of us with the technical support we have. We appreciate your interest in helping and sitting on a committee. And this is really an important committee to us, as we don't see many interest in people joining us, and I hope you can make a difference there. And also, we have 2 vacancies. Actually, we have 1 more vacancies after this. So spread the word out. If there's people that we know they're interested, please look into that. And Dr. also Versaloni, there's an oath that you're supposed to be taken, but unfortunately, because of the Zoom situation now, we cannot have you take the oath. Our city clerk, Alex, will follow up with you and coordinate that at a later date.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Congrats. All right. Our next appointment is for the Historic District Study Committee. And we have actually 2 applicants, but we have 4 appointments as regular members. And commissioners, if you don't mind, when you appoint somebody, just specify to what term and expiration that you're appointing that individual. And with that, we'll start with the first applicant, Mrs. Jenny Rauch. And is Mrs. Rauch with us?
Yes, I'm here.
And I apologize if it's Rauch or Rauch, I'm not sure.
Roush.
Rauch, I said it right. Okay, Ms. Rauch, please tell us a little bit about yourself and why are you interested in the Historic District Study Committee?
I'm nearly a lifelong resident of Birmingham, a graduate of Seaholm High School. I have a degree in interior design and historic preservation. I'm a former employee of the museum, and I used to be a member of the HDSC. Now that I'm back in Birmingham, I want to get involved and just thought this would be a great commission to get on.
Well said, Ms. Rauch. Your resume speaks it all, but I'll let the commission decide on that. Commissioners, any question for Mrs. Rauch? I don't see any questions. With that, I'll leave it up to the commission for nomination. Or before we do that, let's hear from the second applicant. If you don't mind, Ms. Rauch, stand by, and then we'll hear from the second applicant, which is Mr. or Miss Joy Kenter. Is Miss Joy Kenter with us?
Not that I can tell unless she's named as iPhone or something else.
Ms. Kenter, if you can hear us, please raise your hand on the screen or tell us if you're there. And I'll give it 1 minute and less. If I see, please, Eric, help me out with that. If you see any hand. I do not see any hand. All right, and we know that Mrs. Cantor is a new applicant, I guess. Let me see. Yes, she is. So, commissioners, we have Ms. Rauch. You tell me the desire of whether appointing someone tonight or whether postpone her for Ms. Cantor, or we can bring Ms. Cantor back on her own. Commissioner Sherman.
Since we have 4 spots available and only one other candidate, I will nominate Ms. Rauch for the term that ends in June of 2023.
June 25th, 2023. Great. Thank you, Commissioner Sherman. We have a nomination for Ms. Rauch. Any other nomination? So we don't have any other nomination. So let us do the call roll, please, for Mrs. Rauch, and we will ask Ms. Cantor, please, to come back at a later date. With that, Alex, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Sherman?
Yes.
Commissioner Host? Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Baylor?
Yes.
Mayor Boutros?
Yes,
Commissioner Hoff is absent.
correct. All right. Congratulations, Ms. Rauch. Thank you for your interest. And not sure if you heard me with the other applicants. There will be an oath that you're supposed to take, but because it is Zoom, unfortunately, we can't have you do the oath now. Our city clerk, Alex, will be in touch with you to coordinate that at a later date.
Okay, thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. And we move on to our next appointment. It's the Board of Building Trades Appeals. And we have 2 applicants, and we are appointing actually for 2 seats as regular members. And the first applicant is Denny Mando. Mr. Mando with us?
Appears to be.
Do you see Mr. Mando?
He is here. 1 second.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Mr. Mando, can you hear me? Oh, we have to unmute him. Give us 1 second. Here we go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Absolutely, Mr. Mando, good evening. And I'd like to give you the floor to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and why you're interested in sitting on the Board of Building Trades Appeals, please. Go ahead.
My name is Dennis Mando. I've been a contractor working in Birmingham for the last 45 years. And I've worked with the mechanical inspectors, Mike, as well as the others, who's been there for a number of years on projects. And he would ask my advice and I would work with him. And basically, that's it. I've been there about 20 years doing the job and, I'm working with them, whatever they needed of me. That's about it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mando. We do have, please stay tuned for a second as we hear from the second applicant, Mr. Scott Surich. Mr. Surich, if you don't mind, tell us about yourself a little bit and why you're interested in that position, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, my name is Scott Syrick. I've been a resident of Birmingham most of my life, I guess since I was 4 on. We can say that's my entire life. I went to Corton and Covington and Seaholm. I have kids that are in school. They're getting a little older now. My dad was always involved in local government, having served on the Traffic and Safety Commission for many, many years, the board. So I thought this was a good opportunity for me to give back. My background lends itself to this committee, given that I am an attorney. I have been practicing law for 25 years. I run a construction law practice group. That's the focus of my practice here at Plunkett Cooney in the local area. So I just thought this would be a great opportunity for me to get back to the community I love. I've been here forever and thought this might be a good opportunity for that.
Thank you, Mr. Syrick.
Syrick, yeah.
Syrick. And as just for the commissioners, we know Mr. Mando has been on that commission since 2006. And now we have another opening that Mr. Syrick is applying to. Were there any questions for the applicant, for Mr. Syrick? From the commission? I don't see any questions. Thank you, Mr. Syrick. And then with that, I'll start taking any nominations. Commissioner Host.
I'd like to nominate Jenny Mando to be appointed to the Board of Building Trades Appeal as a regular member to serve a 3-year term expiring May 23rd, 2023.
Awesome. Any other, Commissioner Nikita?
Yes, I'll nominate Mr. Syrick.
For the term ending also May 23rd, 23. Nominated. We'll take them in the order they were nominated. Will the clerk please, any other nomination? No, will the clerk please call the roll? For Mr. Danny Mando.
Danny Mando with the term that expires on May 23rd, 2023. Commissioner Host.
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita.
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Long.
Yes.
Commissioner Baller.
He's muted. Commissioner Baller, go ahead.
Thank you, and sorry, I was having technical difficulties.
Yes. Did we hear yes, Alex?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. Commissioner Hoff.
Yes.
Mayor Boutros.
Yes. Welcome back, Commissioner Hoff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is for Scott Syrick for the Building Trade Appeals regular member, expires May 23rd, 2023. Commissioner Nikita.
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Long.
Yes.
Commissioner Baller.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoff.
Yes.
Commissioner Host.
Yes.
Mayor Boutros.
Yes. Congratulations, Mr. Syrick and Mr. Mando, and thank you for your interest in supporting and making a difference in the community, sitting on a board. With that, our city clerk will be in touch with you to swear you in at a later date. You're welcome. Thank you. Congratulations. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That concludes our appointments for the evening, and we go to our next item on the agenda, which is open to the public for matters not in the agenda. Do we have any public? Do I see any hand raised? I don't want to miss anybody. I would take an extra moment to double check. I don't see anyone. Eric, do you see anyone?
No hand.
Oh, here we go. Mr. Haig, go ahead, please introduce your name, yourself, name, address, and go ahead with your comment, please.
Hi, Andrew Haig, Banbury, Birmingham, obviously. Thank you for letting me take comment. Yes, just a very quick one. I had a question about this upcoming weekend's event with significant numbers of vehicles planning on cruising up and down Woodward. And I was just wondering, and this is not a First Amendment question, by the way, anybody can say whatever they want. It's a question of public safety because of the number of vehicles and people that are potentially going to be driving around. I was wondering if we're drafting in any more resources from either Oakland County or from the state police to help stop people from stopping, congregating, etc., and just let them drive up and down as much as they want, which is fine. Let them do it. I'm more concerned about congregating, stopping, you name it. Do we have any plans for that at this point, or are there going to be any plans put in place? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haig, for your comment. We don't want to turn it into discussion, but I can speak for myself, and I will have our city manager add on it. As you know, Mr. Haig, this has been long in the work, and decisions been made to cancel the Woodward Dream Cruise from their organization itself, and also our community and our adjacent community had decided also not to participate in Woodward Dream Cruise. In a sense, to clarify what that means, it means that we're not going to allow any side vendors, any crowd to be gathered. That's as much as we can control from a city level. We do not and we cannot stop people cruising down and up on Woodward. It's an MDOT public road. That comes within, it's a state road. MDOT regulate that, but we can enforce, and I don't want to speak for the chief myself, but we'll do our best to stop gathering and mostly pay attention to social distancing as we do for any other event, whether it's a Woodward Dream Cruise or something else. And I hope, just to clarify that as you commented on this, and I hope I answered your question. Thank you. All right, any other comments not on the agenda from the public? I don't see any hand. I saw a hand earlier from Mr. Harrington, but now I don't see you. Are you there? All right, last call. Oh, here we go. Miss Debbie Harrington. The floor is yours. We cannot hear you yet, but go ahead. Please state your name and your address, and go ahead with your comment.
Hi, my name is Debbie Harrington. I'm at the DAR, the Daughters of American Revolution, and we have a special permit that we're trying to get approved for Veterans Day for our annual flag raising ceremony as well as a wreath laying ceremony. Just, I didn't see it on the agenda. I just want to make sure that if it was going to be discussed today or not.
Oh, it is, Ms. Harrington. It's on our consent agenda that's coming up next.
Item G.
Item G. All right, you're welcome. Stay tuned. Oh, that's next on our agenda. Any other comments? Public? I see none. Okay, thank you. We move on. Our next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. And all items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and approved by a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of the items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered under the last item of new business. Commissioners, any items like to be removed? Mayor Pro Tem Long.
Item K, please.
Item K. Okay. Long. Commissioner Host, go ahead. I see your hand. Sorry.
Item A as an apple.
Item A by Commissioner Host. Okay. Commissioner Hoff, go ahead, please.
Item H.
Item H. Commissioner Hoff. Okay. Long. Any other items to be removed by the desired commission? See none. By the public. I don't see any. Okay. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Sherman.
I will move the consent agenda excluding items A, H, and K.
Any second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nikita. Motion by Sherman. Awesome. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Sherman?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Baylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Mayor Boudreaux?
Yes, thank you. I see hopefully there'll be a minor discussion on those items. If Commissioner desire to go ahead with discussing them now, and we'll go by the items that were listed. Item A by Commissioner Host.
Okay, the last page, which would be under public comments, the fourth paragraph, Mayor Boutros reiterated that the bond is being rushed, whereas I believe you said is not being rushed. The word not is missing, unless the mayor disagrees with me.
I don't recall objecting on that, so I believe you might be right. Alex, if you don't mind, I'd like to have the clerk go back to the audio, please, and video, and please correct if there's a mistake there.
We will.
Thank you. Commissioner Host, is that all what we have on that item? Would you like to? Commissioner Hoff, you're muted. 1 second. Here we. Yep. One more.
Yes. As far as the minutes go, on page 6, I'd like to make a comment on an item about 5 paragraphs down. And it's referring to, this is the Lutheran Church, and our assistant planning engineer was speaking, and he said there was a correspondence from a West Bloomfield neighbor concerned about where the construction equipment would be staged. And I'm not certain if that's correct. How would it be a West Bloomfield neighbor of the church on Maple?
Alex,
Border to West Bloomfield.
Say that again.
The church borders to West Bloomfield.
Does it? No, to Bloomfield. The one here in Maple. Yeah. So, Alex, would you also look into that, please?
Yeah, I'll take a look at the recording and at the transcript.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Hoff. I don't believe a West Bloomfield resident would be objecting on that. But we'll look into the record and we'll see what correction has to be made. Thank you, Commissioner Hoff. Any other commissioner comments on that? Any other questions, clarifications on item A? Commissioner Host, would you like to make a motion to approve item A? Go ahead, Commissioner Host.
I'll make a motion to approve item A with the revisions.
Any second?
Second.
Okay.
Based on review of the prior meeting.
We just to clarify, Alex, the motion, if it's clear to you, based on you listening to the previous meeting recording and correct both requests by Commissioner Hoff and by Commissioner Host. Is that clear?
I have them marked. I'll go back.
Awesome. Thank you. Just for the sake of clarification of the motion. With that, we have a motion by Commissioner Host and seconded by Commissioner Hoff. Any comment on the motion by the commission? None? Any comment by the public? I see none. Awesome. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Baylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Boutros?
Yes, thank you. We'll go to item H, pulled by Commissioner Hoff.
I pulled this because I had a couple of questions. This is our agreements with the outside agencies that provide services, Birmingham Bloomfield Community Coalition, Birmingham Youth Assistance, and Common Ground. And I am very supportive of all three of these organizations and want to be involved and want to contribute. But as I looked at their reports, the Birmingham Bloomfield Community Coalition in particular, all of their information that they presented was based on 2019 rather than 2020. And I certainly understand why, because I'm thinking that these organizations, I don't know if they had activities in 2020. And so I'm wondering if we have given funds, if we have contributed funds that have not been used because they don't have activities this year, are they holding them, or what is happening to the funds that we are contributing, whether it be this year or last year, if there are no activities? So I think the response would have to come from a representative of the agency.
Any representative available to speak on that behalf? Oh, our chief.
Are you good?
Our chief, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. So Commissioner Hopp, in regards to the Birmingham Bloomfield Community Coalition, if you look at under their attachment A, all their dates of services are from January 19th of 2020 through the March 9th of 2020. And it totals up to the amount allotted by the commission. So that would have been services rendered in 2020, just prior to the onset of COVID. I'm sorry, attachment B, excuse me.
Attachment D?
Attachment B, B as in boy, for Birmingham Bloomfield Community Coalition. They have under their attachment B, it's for most of all of their expenditures came in the fourth quarter, April 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2020. And it totals up to the exact amount of $3,000.
Okay. Okay.
Commissioner, would that satisfy your question?
Yes. In view of that, I will move the suggested resolution.
Thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Nikita. And any comment on the motion by the commissioner? None? Any comment by the public on the motion? I see none. You see? No? Okay, perfect. With that, we'll bring it back. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Commissioner Baylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Long?
Yes.
Mayor Boutros?
Yes. Thank you, Alex. With that, we go to the last item pulled by Mayor Pro Tem Long, item K.
Thank you, Mayor Boutros.
You got it.
I pulled this item because I just wanted to briefly acknowledge in more detail Bill Wybrecht's contributions to the Parks and Rec Board. His nearly 30 years of service made him one of our longest serving members. He was a valued and respected member of the board, an unfailing resource for deep historical knowledge. He had a keen eye for budgets and operations. He was a passionate advocate for improving resident access to all of our parks and recreational facilities. He was instrumental in helping to support and improve golf course operations. He was equally passionate about the ice arena and the baseball fields, and his service to the Parks and Rec Board was extraordinary. And he will be missed both personally and professionally. And I just wanted to take this chance to acknowledge that. So with that, I'd like to move the suggested resolution.
Any second? Seconded by Commissioner Host. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Long. And any comments on the motion by any commissioner? See none? By the public? See none. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Host,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoff,
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita,
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman,
He's muted. Commissioner Sherman? Let's give him a second. Maybe,
Yes.
all right, we heard you, Commissioner Sherman. Thanks.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Mayor Boutros.
Yes. Thank you, Alex. With that, we go to our next item on the agenda is unfinished business, and we have none. We move on to new business. Item A under new business is a public hearing for 1365 Chapin, and I would like to open the public hearing. Mr. Johnson, if you'd like to give us some information about it, an update, the floor is yours.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Valentine. The property at 1365 Chapin was scheduled for a public hearing for this evening to abate the dangerous buildings that were located at this property. If you recall, on May 25th, there was a natural gas explosion at the property, and code enforcement had been working with a cat hoarding issue, for a couple of months before that. But after the explosion and the fire investigation basically destroyed the houses, we were working with the owner to demolish them. We gave them a deadline to do that. They didn't achieve that deadline, so that's when we scheduled the public hearing. Shortly after scheduling the public hearing, the owner, working through their insurance company, did demolish the existing house, what remained of it, and then also the detached garage at the location. The property has been graded, seeded, and mulched, and the hazard has been abated. Therefore, the public hearing tonight is no longer necessary. We're recommending that it be canceled.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'll take questions from commissioners to Mr. Johnson. Commissioner Hoff, go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, I know the residents were very concerned prior to the demolition. Have you heard anything from them since this has taken place?
We've heard from a couple of the residents that were very happy that, that the property has been, that the buildings were demolished and the property cleaned up. They had to sit for it with kind of not an extended period of time, but the fire investigation did take a period of time. So it was quite a mess for a number of weeks in order for the fire investigation to be completed. But now that it is gone, we've had some positive feedback from the residents.
Thank you.
Any questions from other commissioners before I ask if there's any question from the public to Mr. Johnson or to us? I don't see any commissioners. Any public question on the hearing? I see none. With that, I'd like to close the public hearing. And we're closing the hearing to actually entertain a motion to accept the cancellation of the hearing. Commissioner Hoff, please.
I'll move to cancel the public hearing.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Hoff and seconded by Commissioner Nikita. Any question, clarifications on the motion by the commissioners? I see none. Any question on the motion by the public? I see none. Bring it back to the commission. And will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Hoff?
Yes.
Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman?
Ms. Sherman, are you with us? I lost him myself. We lost Commissioner Sherman on that. We may proceed. Hopefully he'll be texting us, or we'll see. We're having technical difficulties with maybe his computer. But go ahead, Alan.
Yep. Mayor Pro Tem Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Baylor?
Yes.
Mayor Boutros?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, also. With that, that will conclude our first item, and we move on to item B, which is a public hearing to consider a final site plan and SLUP, special land use permit amendment for Pernoy, located on 310 East Maple. And I see our wonderful planning director, Ms. Jenna Eckert, put her seatbelt on and ready to give us a presentation. And I'd like to open the hearing.
Yes, good evening. This is actually a pretty simple special land use permit amendment request. Pernoy, I'm going to say it wrong, I'm sure, but right now, Pernoy is requesting to change their name to Casa Pernoy. They're proposing to just make their menu, shift their menu a little bit. There are no changes whatsoever to the ownership, the exterior of the building, other than the sign, which would go from reading Pernoy to Casa Pernoy. No changes to the layout or design inside the building, outside the building. No changes to ownership or operation. So it's a simple request. In the past, over the past, I don't know, maybe 10 years, we've had a few of these come up where the city commission or the city attorney has directed that we could just bring them straight to the city commission because there's really no plan changes for the planning board to review. So it's simply a name change. Miss Allen is representing Pernoy, and I'm not sure if she's on here tonight, but I don't know if you have any questions for her or myself. I'm happy to answer them. Really, that's all there is. If you want me to put the plan up, I can. However, there's no changes from what's there today, inside or outside, and just a matter of adding that little square on the sign next to Pernoy. So the Pernoy part would still say little square that says Casa, C-A-S-A. And that's the only change proposed. So we would request that you consider approving the final site plan and special land use amendment for 310 East Maple to allow the name change from Pernoy to Casa Pernoy.
I do see, thank you, Ms. Eckert. I do see the applicant attorney, Ms. Scully Allen, and she's in San Francisco somewhere with her background. But we would like, would you like to say anything, or you'd like to be just acknowledge that you're present for any questions? Commissioners, any question for Ms. Eckert or for the applicant? Commissioner Nikita, go ahead.
Just wanted to clarify the seating arrangement. The plans that we have in our packet identify where the seating is relative to the outdoor and interior seating, and obviously other elements of the plan for the long-term plan that I would assume that the restaurant, that the bistro would have. Currently, there are a number of seats in the outside of this plan, meaning not the current condition that you see when you go there today is, I would assume, relative to the odd circumstance that we're in right now with the COVID summer situation. So I just wanted to clarify that was clear as to what is currently being done and is what will eventually, or in the end, hopefully, if we get back to whatever normal will be, the plan that is included is it understood by all parties that the plan that's included is what needs to be adhered to, and that's what we're approving tonight.
If I could add, that's correct. And if you look at the plan that's in your packet, it says previously approved plans, no changes in red at the top. At the bottom, it says with asterisks, note temporary COVID-19 plans are in effect through October 31st, 2020. So to your point, there is additional seating. It's spread out. It's outside of these boundaries, but this is what was previously approved in the SLUP, and this is what you would be amending going forward. That COVID seating pursuant to your resolution only applies through October 31st at this time.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Acker, for the clarification. Do I see any other questions from the commission to the applicant or to Ms. Acker? Are you raising your hand, Mr. Baller, or you're scratching?
No, I'm scratching my head.
Okay. And now any questions from the public to Ms. Acker or to the applicant? We see none. Okay, with that, I would like to bring it back and close the public hearing. Mayor Pro Tem Lung, I see your hand.
Yes, I'd like to move the suggested resolution to approve a final site plan and special land use permit amendment for 310 East Maple to allow a change in name from Pernoy to Casa Pernoy.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Commissioner Hoff.
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner Hoff. Thank you. And then any comment or further discussion on the motion by the commissioners? I see none. Any comments or further discussion by the public on the motion itself? I don't see any. All right, I'll bring it back for the commissioners. Any further discussions? Alex, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoff?
Yes.
Commissioner Nikita?
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman, is he absent right now?
It's still absent.
Okay.
He must have lost his...
Commissioner Baller?
Yes.
Commissioner Host?
Yes.
Mayor Boutros?
Yes. Thank you, Alex. With that, we go to our last item under new business. It's a resolution approving the temporary installation of Lori Tennant's 8 artworks along Booth, Corton Lake, and Linden Trail as identified in the application by Robert Kidd Gallery that is dated June 16, 2020. And that's proposed for a period of 1 year. I do believe we have Mr. Brooks Cohen give us a little background and presentation on that.
Good evening, everyone. Alex, would you be able to give me permission to share my screen to show images of the artwork?
Yeah, I need Eric to do that because he's the host right now. So if he can get that for you in just a second.
We heard you, Brooks. He gave me a thumbs up. Are you ready to share it?
Okay. Does everyone see my screen?
In a second. Yes, yep. We do.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. As Mayor said, Robert Kidd Gallery, on behalf of artist Lori Tennant, has applied for a temporary installation of 8 art pieces along Booth Trail, Corn Trail, and Linden Park Trail. The artwork features floral photographs with black backgrounds on a 40-inch by 60-inch metal canvas. On June 17th, the Public Arts Board reviewed the artist's application and felt that her artwork was best suited for Birmingham's network of trails and parks connecting to Corn Lake. The board and applicant both agreed that a 1-year loan was a reasonable time frame. City staff worked with the applicant in terms of preferred artwork locations as previously identified by the Public Arts Board, and the applicant has provided a map and renderings of how the 8 pieces of artwork will appear in their locations. The photos included are photoshopped in the locations where they would like to put them. On July 7th, the Parks and Rec Board reviewed the artist's applications and felt the installation would be a nice addition to the trails and parks. The board requested that the art be positioned in a manner that allows the subject to be viewed from both directions on the trail to the best extent possible. And then in regards to lighting, the applicant has indicated they would like to apply a small solar light to illuminate the images included on the map for number 1, number 5, number 1 here, number 5 down here, number 6 at Corton Lake, and number 8 at Corton Lake. Examples of images with a nighttime lighting on display where they were at Cranbrook have been attached. I'll show you those. But the artist has indicated that the lighting is not a deal breaker and can be removed at any time if there's any complaints or if City Commission doesn't want them. This artwork display has been up at Belle Isle as well. And here, let me scroll to the Cranbrook display. Here we go. So here's photos of the artwork at Cranbrook during the winter time with a nighttime display. Initially the artist had proposed 1, but the art board felt that, with looking at the application examples of the work, that, the more the better, and that they would work really well throughout the gardens and parks of Birmingham. So with that, leave it to you guys with any questions.
Thank you, Brooks. With that, Commissioner Baller, you have a question?
A couple of questions. Will they all be lit?
No, just 4 of them. Scroll back up to the map. So numbers 1, 5, 6, and 8. So here, down here, and then on Corton Lake.
And do we have a do we have a statement from the artist?
I had spoken from the artist.
I mean, typically artwork like this in a gallery situation or would have a statement from the artist somewhere. You understand what I'm saying?
Not attached within the memo, but if the artist is watching, I'm sure she could be able to provide more information or a statement for the art.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's not just for our benefit, but I just wonder whether it ought to be somehow incorporated into the presentation. Not this presentation, the presentation of the art.
Yeah, we're planning to have tags that would be not only the title of the piece, but also a description of that piece and the project.
And the project,
great. Don't mind, just state your full name for the record, just to for our city clerk to acknowledge who answered the question, if you don't mind.
Lori Tennant.
Thank you.
And Lori, if you don't mind, Mayor, could you briefly tell us about the project?
Sure.
Who is the artist?
So these images are from a portfolio of mine called Botanicals Intimate Portraits, and the work has been in galleries I've been with Kid Gallery for 24 years, and they were smaller and in frames. You can kind of see some in the back in my studio here. But once I started printing large and on metal, I wanted these images to be planted right back in the garden. So these are often things that we would walk right by and not see, or stop and smell the roses kind of feeling, if you would. And this way you just come upon these giant images that are right back in nature. And it's really fascinating and interesting to see them in this kind of setting.
Will you, I hope, be participating in the in setting them up?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'll be installing them.
And you're confident that they'll be secure?
Yeah, what we go for is a 0 footprint. So these are really, they're very light, and they have rebar that's on the back that goes into the dirt. And we make sure if there's a tree by or logs or something, that we use bicycle chains that kind of attach these to something. But as long as they're not in the wind, like when we did, we've got several that are on the riverfront in Detroit, and we had to make sure that those were really sunk in with cement and whatnot. But the places that we picked along this pathway would be, in a really good position for them to be safe.
and the one at Linden Park. Can we scroll to the one that's sort of not in the nature, but it's against that pump house? I think it's a pump house.
Yes.
Do we own the pump house? Are we going to have any problems with anybody down the road putting this?
No, Mr. Baller, yes, the city, I can answer that, Mr. Tennant. The city owned that. Well.
Okay, good.
Great.
Well, thank you very much, and it's very impressive.
Thank you. I think it'd be nice for all the walking that everybody's doing along this trail, as I did, since May here very often. I think it'll be a nice exhibit.
Thank you, Ms. Tennant. Any other questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Hoff, go ahead.
Yes. Since you have these, Lori, displayed elsewhere, I'm wondering, how do they stand up to the weather?
Yes, that's a book.
They are absolutely weatherproof. Their biggest enemy would be sun, direct sun, and they take about 3 to 5 years to fade. But snow, I mean, I've had them at Cranbrook, was winter in bloom, and the only problem that happened there was they got frozen into the ground, so the show was held over for 3 months. But no, they hold up really well to the weather.
Have you had any problems of theft?
Have none, and I haven't had any graffiti either. The pieces will all be insured, so if anything was to happen, I mean, it's pretty hard to pick up and take away, although they are light, but in the 8 years that I've been doing this, I haven't had any theft or graffiti.
Okay, and I have a question for Brooks. Brooks, who is going to finance this project? Is the city involved in any of the materials?
No, it's part of the Art on Loan program, and so it's a 1-year term with the artist, and she will be the one to do the installation and removal.
Well,
it cost us $0.
It costs zero. Oh, I'm not talking so much about the installation. I'm talking about the poles that hold them in the ground and the identifying tags, the name on each one. Who will be paying for that?
I believe the artist, it's my impression she already has those ready to go.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Well, I think they're absolutely beautiful and a wonderful addition. I remember seeing a few years ago at the Meyer Gardens in Grand Rapids, the Chihuly glass exhibit, which was integrated into the gardens, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I see this as something like that. So I'm all in favor of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoff. I don't see any other hands, commissioners. Ms. Tennant, I want to personally thank you for the effort. And I really had exact similar questions that I had previously discussed it with our city manager. How are you going to weatherproof it? How are you going to theft-proof it? Who's doing the liability? And if the city is acquiring any cost? And all these questions been asked. I want to wish you best of luck. And I hope you don't, as we want to clarify to every commissioner and also to the public, not on top of the hard work, being an artist, beautiful work that you have, that you're taking full liability on everything that happened to this piece of art. I wish you best of luck. I'm a big supporter of art. This is my backyard. I actually live on Nat Rouge River on Hawthorne Street. So whatever you're going to put there, I'm not sure which one. I didn't see it clearly, but it'll be great for every trail in the city of Birmingham. With that, I'll bring it back to the commission. Oh, Commissioner Hoff has a question.
I do have another question. On the map with the numbered map, what is 6A? There's a 6 and 6A. What is why are they, how are they different? 6 and 6A.
The artist was working with staff or working with me and was saying, I think number 6 would work well, either this spot or this spot. And I believe we went with 6A. Sorry to not clarify that on the map.
Well, 6A is on Maple, which will have much higher visibility. Is that where it's going to be? 6A
Oh, wait,
red?
let me scroll to, sorry. Just number 6, the one on facing Court and Lake. So not 6A.
Not 6A.
Sorry. Just 6.
There is one at the top of the falls, but not one facing Maple Road.
So that's 7 is at the top of the falls, right?
Right.
7.
That one, yes.
Okay. So 6A, which would be on Maple, that's not going to be there.
No. Well, Lori, is that correct? Number 6.
That's
we want
correct.
to go
Okay.
up to Court Lake.
All right. And if it's approved, what are the dates, the proposed dates? When will this be installed?
We could start installing probably at the end of the month.
Okay.
Oh, so we'll see him this fall, hopefully, then. Okay. Commissioner Nikita has a question.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this is a beautiful collection, and we are very lucky to have a talent like Lori in our city. Not only a great artist, but a great photographer, and so I think these are really very beautiful images, and I think that the metal condition that they're printed on is unique and will be an asset in the locations. And I just had a question. The thing that struck me in looking at this is a whole series of these locations seem like appropriate locations